I just realized that made the music really quiet for some reason. I have no idea why switching to my headphones did that, but I'll take it. I will definitely take it since I don't have to configure anything now. The music was really loud when it was on the speakers, though, so who knows? And I'm thankfully not late. I'm claiming... So, Dak, is the music gone or just really quiet? Because it was gone for a second, and that was like a really long outro to the song that was on. But now the music's back, and as long as I am loud and the music is not overpowering me, all is good. Should probably get some sort of a monitor setup, or I don't know, something to help with sound, because I'm just guessing at this point. We can turn music up just a little bit more. Maybe that'll help just a tiny bit. It is a Tuesday afternoon, and it is time for some modeling. So, for today, we will be continuing the journey of modeling the RSI Scorpion. And last time, we got quite a bit of work done with my guests that were on, and managed to get it visually looking a lot better. Now that we have these kind of engine clamshells, and we spent the better part of like a half an hour wondering why some of the design features were the way they were. One of the things that you encounter in this kind of thing is that the model that I am working from is a concept model. It is not the in-game flyable model. So as much as it's like 95% correct, I have to figure out the extra 5% that isn't correct. Some quick things being there are four missile pods up here on the top side. In the real ship, there's also another set of them on the bottom, but there are clearly none in this model, so I'm gonna have to figure out kind of where those live and model them in appropriately. Another thing, these engine tails back here that come on after the thruster outlets, those aren't on the real model. Don't know why they got rid of them. If you can imagine, you know, this is what the concept model looks like, and even if you look at the some of the pre-sale artwork, you'll see the tails on it as well. But the real thing looks like this. It doesn't have those little tails on. I don't know if they thought it maybe made it off balance or whatnot. I can't tell. I don't know which I like better, to be entirely honest. In reality, it just kind of seems like another weak piece that could break off the real ship, although, you know, it's hard to say that these wings are not fragile and won't break off already as it is. So for today, we're going to keep working on the engine externals. One of the nice things about this model is that the engines are almost all the same. So if I finish one, I've kind of finished all of them, except for the bottom. Here on the bottom, the bottom engines have these bump nacelles, if you will. I don't believe they are landing gear. I believe the landing gear for the ship exists under these covers here. So this cover, and this cover right here. So I don't actually know what those bumps are for. Maybe like a countermeasure launcher, although I think that's what this is back here. Truth be told, I have not flown the ship a lot in game, so can't really tell you where things come from. But at this point, I'm just I'm hoping I get it accurate enough to not offend anybody. So we're going to continue work on the externals of the motor. As you can see, the motor's kind of got this intakey bit that's pancaked in the center. We're going to ignore that for now. That'll be a big 3D printed piece that goes in there. And my wood is not... Oh, that came out wrong. The wood pieces that I use are thick, as you can see. And doing this out of wood pieces kind of would be tedious and a bit of a quality killer. So I want to do it out of 3D printing, but I'm going to save that for a later date. Really what I need to do is finish up some of this exterior non-intakey work. Probably maybe I might do a piece here, I might not, we'll see. Definitely over here, I want to keep boxing this in because I've been doing that here in the back. And then well as get this underside kind of start working out. One of the things that will eventually have to be decided upon is how the wing's going to attach. Definitely decided not to do folding wings on this. It seemed, if you go down the route of making the wings actually fold on this model, you encounter a couple problems. The first of which is that the wings actually have to fold. The second of which is that the wing mechanism is double hinged. So if you look at the upper is a better example. If you look at the upper wing, there's a hinge right here. So this cylinder, or this rod that goes all the way through here, that's a hinge, and that hinge is being acted upon by these rams. But when you look at up above, the engine itself is now hinged right here. So in essence, you get this double hinge, and what that is most likely doing is allowing the engines, because when the wings fold and the wings come together like an X-wing, this double hinge allows the motors to space themselves apart from each other just a little bit more to give more clearance for the wings to come together, and then they swing backwards. So if I were to do that, I would have to do all of that in order to make this kind of a functional model. Now I could probably cheat it and just have it hinge here. I'd have to look to see if there's even clearance to do that. But in reality, like, the only reason you would fold the wings is to transport it. I have no plans at this time to do landing gear. So because I don't want to do landing gear, there's really no reason for you to fold the wings. And so to make the model simpler, to make building the model simpler, I'm just going to keep the wings static out at their flight position. Because at least for me, I want to display this model on a stand. So as you can imagine, there'll be like a swoopy piece down here and a little base, and hopefully it'll be the center table of my the centerpiece of my coffee table for time to come. So yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. After that, keep working on the turret track back here. As you can see, there's a lot of detail here that I'd like to capture, especially here in the center. This is probably going to be some 3D printed piece that gets laid in just so that we can have kind of this interesting detail here shown, because I'm definitely not going to be able to do that with wood. And then finally after that, if we have time, keep working on the upper part of the cockpit here. I've kind of roughed something out, and I'm really not happy with it. After I've looked at photos and looked at photos and kind of analyzed what I did compared to the model. As you can see, I have the heights right, but it needs more work to look right. Oops, I didn't mean to get rid of that. So that's where we're at, and I'm gonna keep going on the engines here. The first thing that I want to do on these engines is, last time I talked about this centerpiece, okay? And the centerpiece was going to be the platform, if you will. So imagine you are building this model. You have to think about, how is this going to be built? Every model starts with a piece, and every subassembly starts with a piece. And so for me, I was thinking, well, this center section, this piece that goes straight through the center of this model, this is going to be my base. Everything on top of it bolts to it, and everything on the bottom bolts to it. And one piece makes, a good place to start, as opposed to what I have now, which is two pieces. And that's just not going to fly, mostly because I don't want you to have to hold like two pieces together to make a base. Like, that's a dumb idea. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn this into one piece for now. And as you can see, like the angle between those two pieces is not much. You know, making this one piece, nobody's gonna notice. You know, nobody's gonna hit me up on Twitter and be like, RiceMaiden, the engine base, it's not perfect. Shut. I'm not gonna make it perfect. I'm gonna make it functional. That's what I'm here to do. When you make models for as long as I have, you realize that making a model functional and making it to where you're not pulling your hair out to put it together holds a lot of value compared to just finishing the model. I'd probably say that was one of the biggest time sinks that I encountered in the evolution of my models, is this idea that I had started adding complexity but not really accounting for it. So for example, like adding complexity to the body but not redoing the way I was doing the internal makeup of the ship in order to make it easier to put it together. So, you know, for a little bit of effort in making it structurally easy to put together, I was just, you know, the time saved by not doing that was just being wholly wasted in hours of tedious model assembly. So hopefully things like this eventually make the model easier to put together and save time in general. Plus, you know, nobody wants to put together something that doesn't feel good to put together. At least in my experience. I talked about it last time, which was the Terrapin model that I did. It from the people that had put it together, mainly one person, they said that it was the best model of mine that they had put together, and mainly because it felt like you were putting a ship together. And that's a good thing. That's a really good thing. That's what I want to hear, you know, in terms of the kind of the style that I use. And that's a good thing to push on to people and say, you know, this is kind of what I want to do, and I think this is representative of, you know, the best that I can do. I'm trying to figure out if I want this piece to be lower. Yeah, maybe I will make it a little lower. Actually, I'm probably going to see this shape right here is kind of, oh, apologies for moving things off screen. My screen is larger than my Twitch transmit, and so my if I'm not careful, I can start working slightly off the screen. Ooh, what's going on? So yeah, so I'm gonna probably pull this back so that this just stays one flat piece, but I'll probably make it intersect it here. Yeah, in reality, both of these should probably get pulled back. Oh, this will have to just be cut out at some point. So yeah, let's pull this back a width, and whoa, did that just all come back? The heck? I did not intend for that to just, there we go. I don't know why the whole thing came back the way that it did. There we go. Okay, so that's pulled back from the edge so that now that can be a single piece that goes all the way around so it doesn't look weird. I still want to lower this though, because in reality, if I lower this piece a bit more, it's going to give more room for this 3D printing up here, and it's also going to, well, it's just going to give more room for 3D printing up there, because at the end of it all, I have this kind of gap I have to fill in, and it's, I haven't yet decided what I'm going to do with that. I might just stack wooden layers and call it a day. But let's get this piece going down so that it's clear. Yeah, right there. Okay, so what do we have to work with? So I can fill this in with 3D print. That's not a problem. No one but the people watching will ever know that I did that. So yeah, so and that lines up pretty well with the bottom of this. Although, yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. So now we need this piece, although it's got this weird like compound angle here. In reality, it's, yeah, I doubt that this is probably going to be an issue. So if I follow that top angle and just ignore this kick out right here, I could actually just make it on plane with this, and then make up here match. Yeah, let's give that a shot. Because again, this would normally be done out of two pieces. You know, it's got a twist to it, and so I have to use two pieces instead of one to fill in that twist. However, because of the location of this piece and kind of what it represents, it really shouldn't be two parts. It should be one. And so I'm going to do my best to come up with the best plane for that one piece to sit in, you know, without having to go all the way to making, you know, it be two pieces. And especially on something like this, an outer piece like this, you know, if you're not able to hold that piece in place, or you're, for whatever reason, just not able to, you know, work on that piece in a timely manner, it's going to become difficult to put together. Okay, let's see. I'm okay with this. In reality, I probably don't need that overhang. I mean, no one's gonna know except for the people watching. Yeah, let's go for this. Let's see how this looks without that overhang. Go here, and then just do this, and then see how this piece fits in. So if we get rid of that, yeah, no one's gonna know. Yeah, no one's gonna know that that's kicked out slightly more. Saves on complexity, but so we will fix this upper piece to match. Let's see. And pull that out down this way. Shoot. Come on. Hopefully this gives me a good enough look. I like how it somehow produced a different angle on this plane, even though I took the angle of that face. Weird things are afoot. Oh, we can fix this. There we go. And then this, needs to be adjusted to come underneath of it, because that now dives into that piece. And boom. Fixed. All right, so let's see. Yeah, I'll probably make the engine just a little bit larger to accommodate this little kick out here. All right. So now that we got that, I need to make this front piece here. Bring it up here. Make a cap for that. So that might. So this area is going to be interesting. I'm probably going to leave this open and not do anything with it for the time being, because this is that upper engine hinge right here. You can kind of see it poking out through the bodywork. And so hopefully when I get around to this, I'll probably end up doing kind of a big mix of 3D printing and wood, because I want some of this detail to show through, like especially this hinge work down here and these cylinders. You know, that's all pretty looking, and that should be there in the final model. And so I'll probably do a number of 3D prints to show this stuff. So maybe I'll probably use wood to make these like gussets, these brackets here. And then make the internals out of 3D printing, so it kind of has this nice hybrid look to it. So let's see. Okay. So we've done this. So there's this flat piece underneath. And it's kind of angled too. How are we going to deal with this? Well, I could just, I guess I could just come out and make it thinner. It's not perfect. I could make the piece of wood angled. That's going to require a piece to make it angled, which is not ideal. Let's see. Maybe I will just what happens? So this is kind of existing in space over here. I'm gonna do a bad thing. I'm gonna do a maybe I don't want to make that. Yeah, okay, let's try that. So let's make this piece lower. So give us a little bit more room to breathe there. Now I gotta sneeze. Alright, so now we got that lower. It basically lines us up to, it's still a little high, but I'll deal with it. It puts us in a little bit better shape for this, and actually I kind of, see, the problem I'm dealing with now is that my core piece kind of goes this way, and this front edge dips down. So maybe the I'm just all this talk about making this core piece like simple, I'm just basically throwing it out the window at this point. Maybe the pro play, because this angle right here, this angle for this ledge, wraps all the way around, and that's the impetus for this front edge angle as well. And I'm starting to think that maybe I should have this core piece up here and let this angle piece stick out, and then just deal with the ramifications of it on the inside. So let's try that. Let's see how this reacts to having this like angled piece in here. So we're going to add a plane. We're going to add a plane right... we're going to add a plane right here. And we're going to see how good this matches up front to back. Oh, that's a good sign so far. It separates actually quite a bit. I mean, I guess it's not the end of the world. Again, I'm just here trying to make the best of nothing that's ideal. So it all matches up good in the front, so that's a positive. Now the bigger question is, okay, yeah, it just starts deviating immediately. But as you can see, I could pull this flat piece back and use this angle. I'm having a hard time convincing myself that it's necessary. Because if you come down here and you look at this, you know, you can see, yeah, you know, okay. I haven't convinced myself that it is necessary, so we're just going to cap this front piece off here. And we're going to deal with the ramifications of that later. I would pay you Tuesday for fixing my model problems today. All right, so if we look at the other side of this, so this wraps around here, and then, oh, that dives way the heck away. All right, it looks like we're going to have to deviate. Is that really? Yeah, that dives up. Man, they really like their, like, complex angles. We have a good one, Dak. Yeah, I'm not sure I'm... maybe... Is this the seam that it's bending on? That might be the seam. Yeah, it's the seam that it's bending on. Okay, well, we'll just capture that for now, and that might just have to be a separate piece underneath of there. So here's what we're left with. The creation of this front lower ledge piece that follows the intersection to this core piece right here. So if we come out here, shove this down here. And then we follow the external architecture. We should get ourselves something slightly functional, at least something to look at. Because this engine is getting more complex the more I play with it, and I'm not liking it. So let's see. So there is like no step. I'm just coming out too far. That's really what happened here. Okay. So we got this bottom edge. It wraps around. I guess I might as well make the piece that's right here. Let's see. And make it go this far back. Yeah, we'll just call this... We'll call this a unfinished piece. It's just taking up space at the moment, but I don't... Unless I come up with another brilliant idea on how to make this better, it's gonna probably not going to be perfect. Oops, nope. Bad model. Okay. So you can see how there's these planar misconnections now that are going to all stack up and make putting these engines together an utter nightmare. So that's the problem that I'm going to have to deal with at some point. But for now, we can just kind of loosely throw this together and hope for the best. Yeah, so this will all be filled in with 3D print, and over here, this bottom. Oh yeah, I'm gonna. Okay, so like I said, I'm gonna stack. So this wing edge is just gonna end up being a stacked piece, just for simplicity's sake. I'm going to attempt to have these in here. These little striations, whatever they're called. Yeah, that's going to be... I'm not sure the laser cutter is going to enjoy cutting... What? How big are these? 30, 1/32 of an inch, like little striations. It'll probably do it just fine, actually, now that I think about it. They might be a little bit crispy. They're probably not going to come out perfect, but hey, it's better than nothing, right? So we have this, and then we intersect with here. So if we remove this, and then let's hide this wing. How the heck am I going to do this? I don't actually know how big I want this piece to be. So that's kind of the problem I have is you have all this space in here, and do you take it up with just filler wood, or is that area going to be used for something else? So let me make the wing really quick. And I don't know yet if I'm going to keep these little kickouts in here. As you can see, the model is just kind of polygons stacked on polygons, and sometimes it doesn't make a whole lot of sense from a I don't know, a details standpoint until CIG comes through and actually like cleans it up, especially with these concept models. But hopefully this will be kind of good enough. So if we do that, and then it basically goes into this bodywork here. I'm just gonna make like it's gonna exist here, but I don't know how much of it I want to exist. So we'll just make it a little hanger piece. So if we do this, so this is the core rear fin. So we got the little finny things. Not quite sure if that's gonna be. I'm not quite sure if those are gonna stay. I should probably actually look at the real thing and make sure that those are part of it. But let's see. Okay. So it is thicker. So I'll probably just layer this and have it go back. So we'll do another layer, and it's going to end on this line here. And also end, let's have it end right here. For now, I may adjust that back. Okay, so if we draw a line across here, and now we have another stack. Number 2 and okay, and then so that kind of goes back, although this is way proud. I'm probably not gonna. I'm probably not. Yeah, let's adjust it. Let's adjust it back to here. Okay. So we're a little off plane, but in reality, nobody's gonna know when they put this together. I'm still probably gonna come up with something different for these little striations here. I'll probably do some like laser etching work on this fin in order to show that detail, like I'm gonna do right here. So gonna laser engrave basically the wood to show these fin details, because I wasn't coming up with a better way of doing it anyway else. I mean, it's the detail's so thin that there's really nothing else to represent it but laser etching. Let's see. All right, so if we keep coming down off of this, and in reality, so I can't do much with this right now because I know this doesn't exist in the real model. I feel like the pictures make it look like it's just literally cut off right here, and that might be what I do, but in reality, I don't have the reference photo up right now, so it's kind of hard to see. However, we do have the continuation of this stack down here. In reality, this should probably be another flat sheet. Yeah, there's some weird angles on the bottom of this thing. Like, obviously, when I say not weird as a like, well, clearly that doesn't make sense. It's more of a like, when I'm trying to represent this as 2D flat planes and not interconnected triangles, yes, I recognize the hypocrisy in what I just said, but trying to represent this in larger chunks of flat wood is hard, because obviously with triangles you're allowed this freedom to kind of do whatever you want with little repercussion. So as it sits, yeah, I don't know. I'm having a little bit of a brain fart on this engine. I might come back to this at some point. So we're gonna move on from the engine. The engine can languish for a little bit. Let's go on to something that's a little bit less mentally intense at the moment. Let's go to this turret track. So on the actual ship itself, the turret can ride on this track between two positions: a defensive position that hangs under the ass of the ship here, or a offensive position which goes to the forward of the ship here. And so there's this track that runs along the spine of the ship and goes around this corner to account for this. So my plan is if we get rid of the turret, so my plan is to 3D print the inner part of this track so that it looks good. And all I really need to do for now is make a few modifications to the track geometry here. So firstly, I want to put in these triangles. I want to make them little triangle pieces of wood to represent that detail. And then the other thing I want to do is add in this kind of very slightly bulged geometry right here out of another piece of wood, because it adds something to the void, if you will, because if I hide this, it's just kind of just wood. It exists. It's not interesting. But when you add in these kind of I forget what they're called in like the movie industry, where for like greeblies or greebles or something, to where, you know, you're adding this like stuff to fill the void, but it's stuff that makes sense to your eye in like a fast glance. And so and I'm not saying these are that, but in terms of this model, they kind of will add that in. They'll take this flat expanse of wood and make it interesting, make you want to look at it. Because in reality, you know, that's what I want the models to exist for. I want people to look at them because I want them to be interesting. And it also looks like, as part of this modification, I need to kick the sides of this out a little bit, which is easy enough to do. So we'll add the new wall right here, and then we'll make it come butt up against this piece that we're gonna add. So let's add this. And so I'll make the so what'll happen is I'm gonna make the adjustments for that piece that fits in later, but for now, I want this I just want to fill in this geometry so that it's there for me to tweak with when the time comes. So there, and then we'll fill in this. Come over here. It looks like a package of mine has arrived. It's always unnerving to hear the doorbell ring. I don't know why. I'm one of those people that like, why'd the doorbell ring? Nobody comes to my door. And then I'm like, oh, it was delivery man. But hey, gotta get those Christmas presents delivered before Christmas Eve, right? You know, traditionally I try to be early, you know, get my Christmas shopping done like a month or two in advance, and this year I've fallen short of that. Like, man, I'm doing it last minute. This is like college me from what, 12, 15 years ago. Gotta get my act together. Gotta finish my RSI Scorpius model. All right, so we can make those cutouts now. So this piece makes this turn, which comes up here, and does a curvy thing. I can add the curve in back later, and does that. So, okay. So we will punch the shape out. Punch the shape out of here. Yeah, I'm pretty positive that's where I stopped, but we'll find out. Okay, so come up here, punch that out, come down here, and basically follow this geometry, you know, in the hopes that I don't cause any corruptions when I do this. Boom. So now we get rid of that. Oh, look, there's a hole there. Sweet. Okay, so what needs to happen now, and because this is a multi-angled piece, oh yeah, this is an interesting conundrum. Maybe I intended to do this oh yeah, I intended to do this out of multiple pieces. I'm dumb. That's why I didn't do that in the first place. Who would have thought? Alright, so I guess I need to cut off my hand. No. I need to cut off my handiwork. So we're going to cut you off right there. And we'll actually cut off the handiwork. We'll actually cut it off where it makes sense, which is right here. And then just go around it like a good modeler. Nothing says quality modeling like making random polygons to remove material. Okay, so this needs to be a separate piece because it's on a different angle. And I still feel like an idiot for not seeing that a minute ago. So, but what we will do is we will make it level with itself. So if we just make a plane between those two parts, and look at that, perfectly flat. Perfectly balanced as all things should be. So if we come over here and now we create that geometry that needs to exist here. Now it will be what we need. And it also covers up that hole in the between the bodywork, which is exactly what I wanted. Ah, shoot. So, because these two pieces of bodywork are angled to each other, there needs to be a gap, because this is going to slam into that piece immediately. So, if we pull the 2D geometry of that angle off, we now get our keep out zones. Alright, with the keep out zones, now we have... Please snap. There we go, good enough. So now we have this little facade piece. We'll call this... So because parts in this program are custom named, speaking of which, that is slightly a problem. Well, can I get away with just popping this up? No, I can't. That's annoying. That's really annoying. Oh, is this piece too high? If this piece is too high, it just needs to go down. That's gonna throw off everything. Great. Yeah, I made that piece too high. Well, I guess this doesn't need to go down that far. Alright, so let's see what happens here. If I were to... So, I mirror my new part across. Okay, so now I have those two parts. And then I also... Actually, you know, I'm going to save my work just because I would hate to do all this over again. Because I'd probably go insane. Well, according to my stats, I have one viewer right now. To whoever you are out there, a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays. I hope you are enjoying wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Thank you for being here for the stream. I have started streaming my model making because the alternative is me sitting here by myself, jamming out to music as loud as I can. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but I know that there are a lot of people that are interested in what it is that I do and kind of my process for making models. And so I have no problems with showing that to the world. I think that, you know, if that people can find the things that they enjoy and are good at in a creative sense by you know, breaking outside the mold. And I think that's what I did, because in reality I had a problem 6 years ago, and that problem was I wanted to make big Star Citizen models, but I didn't want to have to wait hours at a time for a 3D printer to whir away, you know, 40, 50, 60 hours to make a model of a decent size. And so I came up with this. And now it's well, it used to be I could design in a week and then build and print in a weekend. I've completely blown past that now. I'm not going to lie, but I think it's morphed beyond my original intent and into something that I think is really special. And I'm hoping that this Scorpius model kind of pushes the envelope. You know, this will be, I think this will be one of the best models that I've ever produced. I think it'll be the most fun to put together for sure. And hopefully eventually I'll get back to the Ares Ion model that I started last year, or actually started earlier this year, because it was started under the same pretense as this. You know, I'm calling it the Master Series. It's the series of models that I try not to cap myself quality wise, you know, and that's a challenge, you know. Obviously you have you fight burnout, you fight having that interest coming and going, and I mean that's what happened to the Ares Ion model. Is I got like 50% done with it. I mean the size 7 weapon on it was all done, you know. I just needed to build it, and the interest kind of faded, and so I'm trying something new here, you know. I'm trying to use streaming to keep myself kind of accountable and keep the consistency and rhythm going, of finishing these models that I start out putting together. And I think this will be good, you know. I think this is gonna push what I can do to the next level, because honestly I believe in, and you know, that's kind of what I've been trying to do for, you know, the last couple of years is push my abilities where I'm at to, you know, the next level. And it's hard to sit here and tell you exactly what that's going to look like, but you know, I'm in it for the ride, I'm in it for the journey, and you know, it's the best I can hope for. Well, there is my motivational monologue for the day. Let's see. So we got this raised piece, and so I'm going to do it. So it'll be 2 pieces. It'll be this flat, and then the flat that dives away. I'm probably gonna have to cut out this piece. These 2. Actually, I take it back. It's 4 pieces. So, or no, I take it back. It's just 2. Yeah, it's just 2. This piece, on the other hand, I don't know what I'm gonna do there. I'll figure something out. I might just have it be a floating piece that floating 2 pieces that sits in there. So let's do this. Nope. All right, so this piece crosses over. You know, we'll go right there. And this piece can fit in here. And like I said earlier, I'm gonna have to come back and make adjustments. All these pieces are line on. This is probably going to be one of the more time-consuming aspects of this project. Is there'll probably be like 2 or 3 streams in and of itself, is just going through the model and going, okay, what's line on, what needs a gap, what needs a tolerance, you know, what's the best way that I can do this without, you know, making this model like impossible to put together. I'm hoping to tighten up some of my panel gaps in this model. You know, I'm gonna be real tight on my tolerances for this one. I'm really hoping that this one fits together really well. I mean, obviously, as a downside of that, it's going to be more imperative that I actually like put together a decent a decent internal structure to the model, so that it isn't like a pain to put together. So we'll see what happens, but for now, And before anyone ever asks me, no, I'm not going to make a functional rail for this turret, because that sounds like an awful time. I take it back. That sounds like a beyond awful time. All right, so if we come over here, that's going to be our edge. And oh, that won't be our edge. I need this. This is my edge. Do I want to come all the way forward? No, I don't want to do that. I want this to be pulled back here. And then we'll bring it on back to its natural conclusion point, which is going to be right here. Because again, what we're trying to do is we're trying to avoid the V. So if I line this plane up in the plane it's supposed to be, you can see that this other piece of wood right here has a three-dimensional shape to it. And so by bringing that line back, I'm now clearing this piece of wood when I bring it down. So as you can see, when I extrude this downward, it now entirely clears that piece of wood no matter how deep I make it. And that's important. That's really important to this, because without that ability, modeling would take infinitely more time. So fun story. The very first model I ever made, I did in SolidWorks. It was the Origin M50 model, and I don't remember that being too difficult. But you can imagine that the Origin M50 is not a super complex model. And so you run into this issue of the that SolidWorks is really not built to do this freeform stuff. It really isn't. And so you have to make do with the processes and procedures that are built into it. And, being able to take imported geometry, so this imported geometry here, and make planes and, make reference geometry out of it in a functional and smooth way, SolidWorks just doesn't have, in my opinion, that great of tools to allow you to do that. And so that's why I moved away from it after the M50 model, because it wasn't what I needed to be successful. So here's kind of where I'm at, and I don't know, I kind of lost my train of thought on that, to be entirely honest. But yeah, it's coming up on an hour here, and in reality, I'm probably going to be saying bye here in relatively short time. I don't intend to, I'm not one of these 24-hour streamers for sure. Get a little bit of work done on the model, each day at a time, and I'm hoping that I can hold to kind of a decent time frame on this model. I've told some people that I'd really like to have it done before the end of the year. I think the joke was that I would have it done by Christmas, and that is entirely a joke. I think the idea that I would have it done by Christmas is just me like destroying myself, like time-wise, to get it done, and that's just entirely untenable. So hopefully this can be done by the new year, and be a good way to ring in 2023, especially with CitizenCon next year. So as those that remember last time I was at CitizenCon. I did so for CitizenCon 2018, which was the last time it was in the States. I attended. I had a wonderful time meeting everyone, and I plan on attending CitizenCon 2023 in LA. However, the big thing is that, or not the big thing, I plan on doing something similar to what I did last time, which is build some models and give them to people I know. And that's, because I really enjoyed that from the last time that I did this, and I think that that's going to be a big hit this time. And so what I need to do and what I will start to do as 2023 goes on, and I hopefully get kind of more into streaming and more into casual streaming and more into working on models, is figure out what I want to do for CitizenCon. So last time I did dragonflies. I did a box of 6 dragonflies that came with me. I flew with them and gave them out to a number of people that I'd known in the community and had a great time with. And I want to do something like that again, but I'm going to have to think about kind of the CitizenCon package is what I produce, because obviously it's going to take time, energy, and materials to do that. And frankly, I don't know where I'm going to be at that point. I don't know, what time I'm going to have at that point. And so, hopefully I get that done earlier, because one of the other things that I had to do last time was get written permission from CIG to gift these models. They seem to have a keen eye into what I'm doing, and I, rightfully so, as I'm probably, to a certain degree, it could be considered a competitor in the sense of what I do, not a competitor in like a commercial sense. I'm not selling these models, so I'm not directly competing against JRDF, but in an essence I'm doing the same thing that they're doing to a certain degree. And so, if I were CIG, I could see you probably want to keep an eye on what it is that I am doing and, make sure that it didn't become a problem. So as it stands, I will have to get permission from CIG to gift models at CitizenCon 2023, which I wholly intend on doing. But as I said, I need to sit down. I need to figure out what it is that I'm making, because obviously the bigger I make models to give people, the more energy and resources it's going to take, and the less of them that I can do and the less that I can give out. So, it's hopefully when like July rolls around next year, I can sit down and say, okay, I've got a couple months. If I slowly work on this for a couple months, I can get a decent amount done. But then that goes to kind of in my head discussions of, okay, well, I've gone this far, what else can I do? And I think, some of the things that I've thought about include, I've had the thought for a while of making a hat with a ship on it. So in reality, this actually might be the perfect ship to go on a hat. But the other thing I've thought about is I want to make a big Retaliator as a backpack. I mean, it serves absolutely no purpose. It's just a Retaliator on my back. But, like, its form factor would fit, like, the profile of my back well enough to where it would probably be pretty cool to walk around with this giant Retaliator on my back. And it also, represents one of the first ships I fell in love with as well. So, I think that would be a cool project. You gotta be kidding me. You've gotta be kidding me. Alright, we're gonna have to fix this really quick. I messed this up. Okay. I let's just say I welded those two pieces together, and they didn't need to be welded together. Oops. All right, cool. Now the day has been saved. Okay, I don't like this little like blip right here, and it's not quite what the okay, it's what the geometry does. I guess there's a little more. What in the world? Oh, I see it. Like there's like an extra. Okay, I see what it did. You know, I'm gonna leave it at that. I don't think that's worth fretting over. Okay, so first things first. There are a couple things that need to be mirrored over. So these two get mirrored over to. Hello. Those two get mirrored over there. That piece got mirrored over there, and then the pieces that I added here, which include that, that, and this and this, those can get mirrored over here. And then as well, because we have 4 engines, it looks like these did not get updated, so I will. Oh yeah, because they're not one piece anymore. All right, so those get deleted. So my new, I'm gonna have to. I'm probably gonna end up having to make this like top right engine be the master, so that I don't mess this up, because it looks like the parts are not. Looks like I messed up and didn't share the parts properly across this, so it is what it is. I'll have to reconfigure it off stream, but so now we can add our new parts to the lower engines. So let's get that, and that. I think that's everything. Boom. So now we got some engines that are starting to look a little more like engines. Oh, and that. Okay. I don't know why you're out there, but yeah, there's some shared part that's kind of messed up, but I'll figure that out later. So if we go and get a save on, just so I don't waste an hour's worth of work. Excellent. Well, that feels good. I think I've got a better handle on the engines, as in I need to sit down and figure out what the heck I'm doing. The turret track's coming along, and then didn't get around to the cockpit, but in reality, that's you know, the third item on my list is always something that I don't know if I'll always get to, but it is what it is. So thank you everyone for joining. Hopefully this was informative, as I once again monologue for an hour to myself. Hopefully next time I'll get a few guests to get on and join me, and we'll keep plugging away at this. And I think we'll try to talk a little more Star Citizen next time. I know that with 3.18 coming up, as well as some of the holiday stuff, there's some topics that would be good to kind of hammer out with people, as well as talk about this model and models for CitizenCon, since with CitizenCon being in LA, I'm sure that's going to lend itself to be a destination potentially for some of my local friends. So we'll see. Well, thank you, and this is me signing off, and until next time, peace.